the alien queen whispered. I came to conquer Earth, but your touch shattered my oath. Skies of silver. The night sky above New Haven Research Station shimmered with unnatural light as Alara Voss adjusted her telescope one final time. Something was happening to the stars. They seemed to pulse and shift in patterns that defied all natural phenomena she'd studied in her 15 years as an astrophysicist. Dr. Voss, you need to see this, called her assistant, voice trembling. The readings are off the charts. Alara abandoned her equipment and rushed to the monitoring station. The screens displayed energy signatures unlike anything recorded in scientific history. Massive, organized, and moving with deliberate precision toward Earth. It's not a meteor shower, she whispered, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. These are ships. Within hours, the truth became undeniable. Massive vessels hung in the atmosphere above every major city on Earth, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent silver that reminded Alara of fish scales. The world descended into chaos. Governments issuing contradictory statements, civilians fleeing urban centers, military forces mobilizing with weapons that seemed laughably inadequate against the technological marvel suspended above them. New Haven's isolation on the northern coast had initially seemed a blessing. No vessel hovered directly overhead. But as night fell again, a smaller craft detached from the main fleet and descended toward the research station. Everyone to the emergency bunkers, ordered Director Hammond. But in the panic that followed, Alara found herself separated from her colleagues. She ducked into the botanical research dome, hoping its reinforced glass would provide some protection while offering visibility of what was happening outside. The alien craft landed with surprising delicacy on the observation deck. Its surface rippled like liquid metal before an opening appeared and a figure emerged. Alara's breath caught. The visitor stood tall and regal, draped in armor that seemed to capture and release light with each movement. But what struck Alara most was the visitor's skin, a rich purple hue that shifted in tone like the deepest parts of a nebula. Definitely female in form, the alien moved with fluid grace as she surveyed the facility. Acting on instinct rather than reason, Alara stepped from her hiding place. I'm Dr. Alara Voss, I'm a scientist. We mean no harm. The alien turned, revealing features that were strikingly humanoid yet undeniably foreign. Higher cheekbones, larger eyes with pupils that shimmered with specks of silver. She raised what appeared to be a weapon. I am Neria, commander of the Astrali Vanguard, she said in perfect English, though her voice carried an otherworldly resonance. Your world is now under our assessment for integration or elimination. Alara should have been terrified, but something in Neria's expression, a flicker of curiosity that matched her own, steadied her racing heart. Before you decide our fate, wouldn't it be logical to understand what you're judging? Neria approached, weapon still raised, but as she drew closer, something changed in her posture. When their eyes met properly, the alien commander faltered mid-step. You're not afraid? Neria said, lowering her weapon slightly. I'm terrified, Alara admitted, but I'm also fascinated. A strange silence fell between them, heavier than fear, more complex than the crisis unfolding around them. Neria's hand trembled slightly as she fully lowered her weapon. I came to claim this world, she said, her voice softening to something almost vulnerable. But something about you challenges everything I believed was certain. Whispers between worlds. The Astrali flagship hung like a silver jewel against Earth's atmosphere, its internal chambers a maze of gleaming metal and pulsing light. Alara found herself in what appeared to be private quarters, though it felt more like a laboratory merged with living space. The walls seemed alive, shifting with subtle patterns that reminded her of mathematical sequences. Your people believe we've come to destroy you, Neria said, watching as Alara examined a floating holographic display. That was indeed the original mission. Alara turned, finding the commander's gaze fixed intently on her. In the ship's light, Neria's purple skin took on deeper hues, almost luminescent along the elegant curve of her neck and jawline. And now? Alara asked, surprising herself with her calmness. Neria approached, her steps silent against the metallic floor. Now I find myself questioning. A commander does not question. For 3 days they existed in this strange limbo. Outside, Earth's governments attempted communication while preparing for war. Inside, Alara and Neria engaged in conversations that crossed the boundaries of their worlds. Alara learned of the Astrali, a species that had evolved in a binary star system, developing technology to harness stellar energy. Their society prized order and expansion, believing it their destiny to bring their advanced knowledge to lesser civilizations. "Your people have potential," Neria admitted on the fourth night, as they shared a meal of synthesized proteins that tasted surprisingly like berries. "But your disorganization, your constant conflict, were messy," Alara agreed, noticing how Neria sat closer than necessary. "But in that chaos we find creativity, beauty." Their fingers brushed as they reached for the same eating utensil. Neither pulled away immediately. "Beauty," Neria repeated as if testing the concept. "We have no equivalent word. The closest might be perfection, but that implies utility." "Perhaps that's why you're here," Alara suggested. "Not to conquer, but to learn something your civilization has forgotten." Later that night, as artificial gravity shifted to simulate evening cycles, Neria showed Alara the observation deck. Earth rotated slowly beneath them, oceans and continents painted in blues and greens and swirling white clouds. "I've never seen my home like this," Alara whispered. "It's the first world that's made me pause," Neria admitted. Her hand found Alara's in the dimmed light. "The first person who's made me question everything I was designed to be." Their fingers intertwined, 5 meeting 5 in a bridge between worlds. Alara felt the warmth of Neria's skin, surprisingly soft despite her warrior status. When their eyes met, the vast emptiness of space around them seemed to shrink until nothing existed but this moment. "This is dangerous," Neria whispered, though she made no move to release Alara's hand. "The most important discoveries usually are," Alara replied, her heart racing as Neria leaned closer, their foreheads touching in a gesture that felt more intimate than any kiss. On the command bridge, Neria's second-in-command, Vex, watched the security feed with growing rage. The commander's weakness would doom their mission unless he intervened. "Shattered oaths. The human has compromised you," Vex declared, his angular features hardened with disgust as he confronted Neria in the command chamber. "While you indulge in sentiment, our fleet awaits orders." Neria straightened, her commanding presence filling the room despite Vex's attempt at intimidation. "I am evaluating alternatives to immediate subjugation. This world offers unique opportunities." "In opportunities?" Vex sneered. "Or is it just one particular human that interests you?" The accusation hung between them like a drawn weapon. Around them, the command crew pretended absorption in their tasks, but Neria knew her authority was being publicly challenged. "You forget yourself." "Second," she said, her voice dangerously soft. Unbeknownst to them both, Alara had discovered how to access the ship's communication system. Listening to the confrontation with growing alarm, she had spent enough time with Neria to recognize the shift in her voice. The commander was in danger. Across the world, humans watched the alien ships with mounting dread. 6 days of silence had stretched nerves to breaking point, and military leaders pushed for preemptive strikes. In the Astrali fleet, similar pressures built as warriors bred for conquest grew restless. "I invoke the right of challenge," Vex announced suddenly, causing gasps among the crew. "Your judgment is clouded by unnatural attachment. I claim command by combat right." Neria's face betrayed nothing, though inside her chest something ached. The laws of her people were absolute. To refuse would confirm her weakness. "Challenge accepted," she said. "Preparation chamber, 1 hour." When she returned to her quarters, she found Alara waiting, face pale with concern. "You can't fight him," Alara urged. "I heard everything. He'll kill you and then destroy Earth." Neria touched Alara's cheek, marveling at how quickly this human had become important to her. "In my entire existence, I've never failed in combat. This isn't about combat ability. It's about what happens after." Alara captured Neria's hand, pressing it against her heart. "Feel that? It's fear, not for me, but for you. For us." The word us lingered between them, heavy with implication. "There is no precedent for what I feel," Neria admitted, her purple fingers contrasting against Alara's fair skin. "My people would call it contamination. Mine would call it love," Alara whispered. When their lips finally met, the sensation overwhelmed Neria's senses. Nothing in her training had prepared her for the rush of warmth that spread through her body. the unexpected tenderness that made her arms encircle Ilara protectively. The kiss deepened, their bodies pressing closer, finding unexpected harmony despite their different worlds. Neria had never known such vulnerability could feel like strength. When they reluctantly parted, Neria's decision crystallized with sudden clarity. "There is another way," she said, "but it breaks every oath I've ever taken." Ilara smiled, her fingers tracing the contours of Neria's face. "Sometimes the most important promises are the ones we make to ourselves." As the challenge hour approached, they set in motion a plan that would either save two worlds or condemn them both. A starlit revelation's dawn broke over the abandoned lighthouse on the rocky northern coastline, its weathered stone walls providing sanctuary to the most unlikely pair on Earth. Ilara led Neria up the spiral staircase to the lantern room where windows offered panoramic views of both the turbulent ocean and the silver fleet, still hovering in the distant sky. "My father maintained this lighthouse before automation took his job," Ilara explained, brushing dust from an old wooden chair. "No one comes here anymore." Their escape had been narrow, Neria activating emergency protocols that scrambled the ship's systems moments before the challenge, buying them time to reach an escape pod. To the Astrali, it would appear as kidnapping, to humans as defection. Neither would fully understand the truth. Neria stood by the windows, her purple skin catching the first rays of sunlight. "Vex will assume command by default. He'll intensify aggression tactics." "Then we don't have much time," Ilara said, joining her at the window. "But at least we have this moment." The isolation of the lighthouse created a bubble outside of time and space, where two beings from different worlds could explore the connection neither had anticipated. As days passed, they shared stories. Neria describing the twin suns of her home system, Ilara recounting childhood memories of swimming in the very ocean that now stretched before them. On the third night, as moonlight streamed through the lantern room windows, Neria helped Ilara arrange blankets into a makeshift bed. "Your world has so many sensations," Neria marveled, running her fingers through Ilara's hair. "On my planet, everything is designed for function, efficiency. And what about this?" Ilara asked, leaning forward to place a gentle kiss on Neria's lips. "Is there a function to how this feels?" Neria's arms encircled Ilara, pulling her closer. "If there is, I've forgotten it entirely." Their embrace deepened, hesitancy giving way to exploration as clothing was slowly discarded. Neria's purple skin seemed to shimmer in the moonlight, responding to Ilara's touch with an almost luminescent glow along the pathways of her veins. Ilara traced these patterns with reverent fingertips, discovering sensitive areas that made Neria gasp with pleasure. "Your heart," Ilara whispered, her hand resting over the center of Neria's chest where a rapid pulse betrayed her composure. "It beats just like mine." "Among my people, to show vulnerability is forbidden," Neria said, her voice trembling as Ilara's lips replaced her hand. "Yet with you, I want nothing more." Through the night, they discovered each other completely, two bodies finding harmony despite having evolved under different stars. In their most intimate moments, the differences between their species seemed meaningless, compared to the overwhelming rightness of their connection. Afterward, tangled in blankets and each other, Neria watched Ilara sleep. The human's face, peaceful in slumber, stirred something protective and fierce within her. "I came to conquer your world," she whispered to the sleeping form beside her. "But you have conquered me entirely." Outside, beyond their sanctuary, both their peoples prepared for conflict, military forces positioning, ultimatums being issued. But within the lighthouse walls, two beings had found what their civilizations had forgotten was possible: unity through difference, strength in surrender. As dawn approached, Neria made a decision. They would not hide while worlds collided. There was only one path forward, and it required the courage to stand before both their peoples and show them another way. Cosmic harmony. The United Nations Emergency Assembly fell silent as the doors opened. Television cameras broadcast globally as Ilara entered, followed by Neria, the first Astrali commander to walk willingly among humans without weapons or armor. Their joined hands caused an audible ripple of shock through the chamber. "Representatives of Earth," Ilara began, her voice steady despite the hundreds of eyes fixed upon them. "I present Commander Neria of the Astrali Vanguard, who comes offering an alternative to conflict." Above Earth, the Astrali fleet had positioned into attack formations under Vex's command. On screens throughout the chamber, military advisors displayed satellite images of weapon systems activating. They had hours, perhaps minutes. Neria stepped forward, her purple skin stark against the neutral tones of the assembly hall. My people believe conquest brings order. Yours believe isolation ensures safety. Both are illusions. She activated a small device that projected a holographic display of both Earth and the Astrali home system. What neither of our civilizations has recognized is our complementary nature. Your creativity with our technology, your diversity with our unity. Skeptical murmurs filled the chamber until Alara revealed their proposal, a revolutionary exchange program rather than occupation, technological sharing instead of domination. But the most radical element was the biological compatibility they had discovered between their species, suggesting an evolutionary connection no scientist from either world had imagined possible. We are not as different as we appear, Alara explained, her eyes finding Neria's with unmistakable intimacy. Our connection proves what could be possible on a larger scale. As they spoke, a separate transmission was directed to the Astrali fleet, where footage of their commander standing as equal with a human caused confusion and debate among the ranks. Vex attempted to block the transmission, but officers loyal to Neria ensured it spread throughout the fleet. Integration need not mean subjugation. Neria's voice reached her people. What I have learned from this human has transformed my understanding of our own purpose. The decision came not in a single dramatic moment, but through hours of tense negotiation. Earth's representatives demanded safeguards. Astrali officers insisted on protocols. Through it all, Alara and Neria remained united, their personal bond becoming the template for what cooperation could achieve. 3 months later, as the first official delegation of humans prepared to visit the Astrali homeworld, Alara and Neria stood on the observation deck of the flagship, once again watching Earth rotate below them, but now as partners rather than adversaries. Do you regret it? Alara asked, nestling against Neria's side. Giving up conquest for cooperation? Neria's fingers entwined with Alara's, a gesture that had become as natural as breathing. I was sent to claim a world, she said, pressing a gentle kiss to Alara's temple. Instead, I found a universe. Behind them, human and Astrali crew members worked together, their initial awkwardness giving way to cautious friendship. It was not perfect harmony. Cultural misunderstandings occurred daily, political tensions flared periodically, but with each passing week, the impossible became slightly more ordinary. As they journeyed toward the twin suns of Neria's birth system, two beings from different worlds held each other close, knowing that their story had only just begun, and with it, perhaps a new chapter for both their civilizations.